Ever since the Switch hit the market back in 2017, there's always been dreams of certain games going to the system, but it always seems like a pipe dream due to the Switch's limited power. But every year we always see these impossible ports from Doom, Witcher 3 and Dying Light late last year, and now it's time for Platinum Games' incredible 2017 game NieR Automata to make the jump to Switch. But how does it run? Let's find out. NieR Automata launched a week after the Switch originally launched back in March 2017, and it really came out of nowhere to be a huge surprise. After Yakuza 0 and Resident Evil 7, there was a great flow of Japanese titles launching in that period, and Automata became a critical and commercial hit, and it's easy to see why. It's a truly unique and quirky experience, and I'm so glad to see Switch gamers will finally be able to experience it now. The story of NieR Automata is certainly an interesting one, set in a future that sees humans evacuating Earth and living on the moon as it's dangerous to live there due to an alien invasion. So humans create androids to defeat the threat on Earth, and we follow two of the androids called 2B and 9S. It's a very odd but human tale that goes very out there at times with many anime tropes, but also having plenty of deep moments. Then it also mixes it up with lashings of dark humour. It's a quirky tale, but it's really enjoyable. It's hard to talk about NieR Automata's story without spoiling it, but rest assured it's great. Watching the relationship between 2B and 9S grows over the story and the many quirky characters you meet along the way. Partway through the game it switches up and then it also switches up again in the game's final third, but it keeps you invested from the beginning to the very end. On to the gameplay now, and Automata is an open world action RPG, but don't go in expecting a huge open world like a Ubisoft one. It's a more smaller, more dense one, and it's all the better for it. You explore the open world, complete main missions, moving the story forward, completing side missions for characters, and also engaging in many combat encounters. And that's where developers Platinum Games' pedigree really kicks in. This combat here feels like it's ripped straight from DMNC or Platinum's own Bayonetta series with super fast and kinetic combat that is an utter joy to play through. With your usual mix of light, heavy and special attacks, you also have a dodge as well. Combat is simple and easy to get a hold of for new players, but if you master it you can pull off some really flashy and cool moves. If you like Bayonetta you'll certainly love this. But it isn't just your typical Platinum style combat, as NieR likes to switch things up, changing the perspective from top down to 2D. It's a super cool idea, and you can tell Platinum Games are having a bit of fun here. There's also some bullet hell style shooting sections here that mixes things up even there with twin stick shooting sections as well. Add in hack and mini games as well as boss fights, and NieR is just a blast to play through, and there's nothing else really quite like it. Time to talk about the game's length now, and this is where the game gets a bit interesting. The game has multiple endings. You think you've finished the game, but you're only just getting started, as there's around 5 different endings to complete the mainline game. But there's also a load of different other endings, such as joke endings and secret endings as well to get. It's a full NieR Automata package here, and it's going to take you quite a long while to complete it. To complete the mainline game, you're talking a good 30 to 35 hours to reach the proper ending, but if you want to see and do everything, then it's easily well over 50 hours of fun to be had here. This being titled The End of YorRHa Edition, this game also includes the really stupidly long mix of letters and numbers DLC content called the 3C3C1D1194400927 DLC content. Yes, it's a really hard DLC to pronounce, but yeah, it's here and it consists of a few extra hours of content as well as new endings, as well as some new costumes. It's a nice little extra if you want to spend a few more hours with the game. I've never played this DLC before on other consoles, and this was a really nice little extra. It's also worth noting that this Switch version also includes optional motion controls, which allows you to use the Joy-Cons to dodge and attack. It's a fun little addition that kind of brings you back to the Wii days, but I definitely prefer the button controls, and I turned off pretty much straight away. We also have HD Rumble here as well, which is great. It's also worth noting that NieR on the Switch is also only about £35 on the eShop, with a physical edition that can be picked up for £31, which is reasonable, especially for a Switch port, knowing how a lot of them like to go for a normal £50 price tag. So great on Square Enix there. Onto the presentation side of things now, and this is where a lot of people are most interested about, and I'm very happy to report that the game performs very impressively. First up is the resolution, and surprisingly it's a dynamic 1080p docked and a dynamic 720p in handheld, and honestly for the most part it keeps to it. The game looks impressive. Of course there's texture cutbacks and some muddy visuals here and there, but honestly I forgot I was playing the Switch version at times. It's that impressive. Cutscenes also look impressive, as does many of the different environments and bosses. As for the frame rate, on PS4 Pro we had a 60 FPS lock, and for the most part it was okay, but it did drop to the 40s. But it did help make the combat feel really fluid and work quite well. But it is to be expected on the Switch that it has been cut to 30 FPS, and whilst it is a shame, it sticks to that rock solid 30 FPS cap for most of the time and in many of the boss fights. I noticed in a few open areas it did drop a bit, but it's nothing that shocking. Also, the load times are pretty reasonable too, which is great to hear. As for the audio side of things, the majority of the game is fully voice acted, and all the voice actors here do a great, tremendous job here, and you can tell quite a few of them are having a lot of fun. But the soundtrack here is something truly special indeed. From upbeat tunes to haunting tracks, Automata's soundtrack is one of the best in recent years. Turn up the volume, because your ears are in for an absolute treat. Conclusion time now, and it's fantastic to see another impossible port on the Switch with the incredible NieR Automata on Nintendo's hybrid system. Featuring the full game here with very minimal cutbacks in performance and graphics, it's clear some amazing technical achievement has happened here. But at the end of the day, NieR Automata's quality still shines through and holds up still after 5 years. From its great story and characters and platinum standard combat, it's a complete joy. Yeah, some of the side quests are pretty generic, but NieR Automatas are a wonderful oddity that all should try. So with that, I'm giving NieR Automata End of YorRHa Edition on the Switch and 9 out of 10 with the title of brilliant. As always, thank you for watching my review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be totally awesome. And as always, thank you for watching. Bye.